I'm Roberta. Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us.
Yay. We're the owners of the Bridal Finery. I feel like it's been forever since we've been on here.
I know, and done like a full introduction and talked about the story.
So what has happened this summer? So we were doing videos like almost like on a weekly basis, sometimes even like 3 a week, and then I just feel like summer happened.
We got busy, which is crazy. Especially in the summer. It's great.
So we opened the Bridal Finery 2 years ago. We had worked together previously for about 9 years at a luxury bridal boutique, and then we transferred over here and decided this whole new concept is exactly what brides needed.
Yeah.
So we focus on off the rack, kind of like a Nordstrom rack of bridal. So we have special order options, but our specialty is off the rack. So if you're not wanting to wait 9 months for a gown to be made, or if you like the idea of getting 20 to 60% off retail, all those really good reasons.
Even shorter engagements, I feel like there's a huge trend of people just getting shorter engagement. They're excited to start a family quicker, or even just buy a house and move in together. So we've been seeing a lot of shorter engagements. Great, because we can accommodate them without having that pressure like, oh, you can't order this one, or there's a rush fee on top of it. So being able to offer the dresses off the rack, I think it's just a huge perk.
Yeah, and also really great, especially with everything with social media. We have a lot of one-of-a-kind pieces. Maybe the designer used it down the runway for 10 minutes, or it was used for like a quick editorial shoot. So all those dresses come here. They're not really suitable for your traditional bridal boutique because they want, of course, like multiple brides to buy that gown. Where in our setting, we're looking for one special bride to own that gown, and we don't really want anyone else to have it. So we have a lot of brides like really trying to like look for that like very unique look, or like more of that like edgy Instagram look. Those are definitely the things that you'll find here in our store.
Yeah, so I think we get asked a lot like, how does it work to fit the dress, which kind of goes into today's topic. But definitely. We have sizes anywhere right now, and our sizes always change, so definitely give us a call or check our Facebook or our website to see updates on sizes. But we tend to have 2 to 14s in the store. Right now we have a good selection of actually like 14 to 20s.
Yeah. It's a good time to come in.
Yeah, definitely keep an eye on Instagram and Facebook to see updates on sizing and everything.
And you can text us, email us what your inspiration is, and again, if you're looking for a particular size, just ask us. We're very open. We'll let you know if it's a good time to come in or when is a good time to visit the store. So yeah, today's topic is all about common wedding dress alteration questions. So Jamie, our fashion director, did a very elaborate blog post that shares all this information. So if you want to refer back to it, or you want moms to read it, all the information is on our blog. So we'll include a link or some sort of like comment below on our YouTube and our Facebook live. So that way you can link over and see it. So so let's get into it. So Roberta, like, why do gowns need alterations? Is it just our store because we're off the rack? Like, what's the reason?
Yeah, so that's such a good question. I have a lot of brides coming in and like, no, I'll fit perfectly into it. I'm like, no, I've been doing this, over 9 years, and I haven't really seen a bride that doesn't need anything. You're gonna need at least a bustle and a hem, but you need alterations because when the designer designs a dress, even if you are reordering a dress, they're never looking at your measurements. They're cutting it to a size. So for example, I have wider hips and I have a really narrow top, and I have 2 sizes difference between my top and my bottom. So I would need a dress to fit my bottom and then tailor the top. I'm also 5'2". The dresses are generally cut for someone that's 5'9", 5'11", so I would definitely need a hem. You just want to make sure that your dress is the best fitted garment you've ever worn. So definitely taking the time to go to a good seamstress. Even if you think that it fits fine, she can most likely make it look even better on you. So just little tweaks here and there will make a huge difference.
Yeah, and ask us questions. We want this to be very engaging. So I'll come around in a minute and see if there's any sort of questions posted, and we'd love to answer them today. And as far as how our seamstress works, so let's get into that, because of course we're sharing all this like great advice. So we have an in-house seamstress available for our clients, and then if she has some appointments available for some outside clients, totally would love to have you. If for any reason she's booked, we also have other seamstresses that we recommend in the area. So So either way, feel free to reach out and we can direct you in the right direction.
Yeah.
So yeah, so another thing, what is like your standard alterations? Let's say you're not making custom changes, you're not adding beading, all these things, of course, that our seamstress can do. But what is like your basic, like, I just need my dress ready for my wedding? Like, what are the things that are on the list?
You should always expect to have the bust taken in, to have the waist taken in, to have the hip taken in, as well as doing some sort of hem and adding the bustle to the dress. The bustle is the train when it gets picked up for the reception. You will need that added to your dress, regardless if it's a short train or a huge train. You're going to need that train picked up so you can have a little bit more fun and dance and let loose in the wedding. So definitely taking the sides in, taking the hips in, and doing your hem and doing your bustle. That's pretty standard, whether it's like 1/4 of an inch to a few inches. So
yeah, definitely. And you may feel like maybe you slip your dress on, you feel like it doesn't need alterations.
Yeah.
However, a seamstress might see it from a different point of view. So it's always good to meet with a seamstress. They can do a consultation. That basically means that you come into the appointment, you try on the dress, she tells you what she recommends. She'll pin it so you can see how it feels. She can do it looser, tighter, walk around a little bit, and then she'll give you, of course, like a quote of what it would cost to do those changes.
correct.
So that's like, you know, again, if you're thinking maybe I don't need alterations, I think it's still really, really important to meet with a seamstress and get like a professional opinion. So in a bustle is a must. You have to be able to enjoy your reception and not like drag this really long train. So, okay, so let's see what else we have. So shortening the dress, like what are important things for a bride to know when it comes to hemming? I feel like everyone loves that like long, almost like little puddle look in the front that we see models wearing. Like it looks long, but like
We do get a lot of those requests, especially lately. I think the past year we've been getting a lot of those requests. You know, it is beautiful to see that photo, and I think it's really easy to fake that photo in the sense of take your heels off and take that photo.
Yeah,
So if you're wearing heels and you hem it to your heel height, you always want to have the hem of the dress, our seamstress calls it kissing the floor. So you always want to have it like barely grazing the floor. It also depends on what type of floor you're walking down the aisle, whether it's carpet, an aisle runner, grass, brick. Those are always going to make a difference on the length of your hem. But just making sure that it's grazing the floor slightly. And like I said, if you do have that lace edge and you want that beautiful like cascading look on the floor, slip your heels off and take that photo.
That's a great
idea.
I love
That's
that.
easy to do versus compromising the look of the dress in the sense that you can take a few steps and get caught in it and maybe fall or tear the dress.
Yeah.
Which you don't want to do that down the aisle.
And it's just awkward if you like trip a little bit. It's very distracting for you and maybe, you know, your guests as well.
Another common thing that we've heard is the change of shoes.
Yes,
They
that
want to
is
go from a
huge.
heel to a flat. How does that?
So you can just know that it's going to be long, and normally, of course, everyone wants their beautiful heel for their ceremony and those important pictures, and then they want to get comfy and change into their flats. And then, of course, that can make the dress 3 to 4 inches longer depending on your heel.
Yeah.
So it's dragging on the floor. People can step on it. Again, it's kind of dangerous on the dance floor. So it's tough. I mean, I would say switch to like a block heel or some sort of wedge where maybe you feel like it's a little bit more casual. It's dance time, like formal photos have been taken, but you don't want to change your heel height. If you do, just know that you're going to be like picking up your dress.
Yeah.
So.
We've had brides in the past get like even those really not cute looking foam platform sandals.
I think
Even though
like they're
no
now
one's
more
seeing
trendy,
it.
like there's some cuter ones out there, so
Correct.
that's a good time for them, where in the past it was like, whoa, what are these things?
But you won't see them. No one will see them. And you'll be comfortable because it's still a flat with just a platform on it.
Definitely.
So, or start off with a shorter heel. Start off with a 2.5, 3 inches. That way when you go down to a flat, you can do even like the little 1 inch small flat and it won't be a huge difference, but just don't do it. go comfortable from the beginning if
sure.
that's important to you.
And you have to be extra careful with carpet. So carpet tends to tuck, you can tuck under it a little easier, so your dress has to even be like a smidge shorter. So something to consider whether you have carpet like in a ballroom setting, down the aisle. So that's something to keep in mind, and definitely super important to share with your seamstress, like what type of flooring you're walking on. That's a big question that we have here.
And if you don't know, ask your wedding planner, whoever, your venue coordinator, or whoever's helping you for the day of the wedding. Definitely ask before you start your alterations. And have your shoes for your first fitting, guys. Bring it in. It can save you a trip back to the seamstress. Honestly, that's all it comes down to. It's one last trip you have to make.
Put them in your car the night before. So we've had a lot of clients forget, there's just so much going on. You're working, you've got bride brain at that point. There's just so much happening. So put your shoes in your car the night before so you don't forget. It really does save the seamstress time. It saves you time. It just allows things to run smoother when you have your shoes from the start. So okay, so just a few more minutes that we have here before our bride comes in. So let's talk about when should you start alterations. So that's a big one.
That's a big one. So standard.
If you have any questions, ask us questions.
Yeah, standard alterations. You want to start about 8 weeks. Definitely reach out to your seamstress, whoever you're using, to see what they prefer. Some seamstresses may ask for more time and some may ask for less, but 8 weeks is pretty standard in the industry. We here at the Bridal Finery, we like to start them about 10 weeks before, especially because we do a lot of customizations, we do a lot of changes to dresses, so it just gives our seamstress a little bit more buffer on the customization time. So definitely reach out to your seamstress, to the bridal salon, wherever you're getting your alterations done, but 8 to 10 weeks is pretty good. We have a question.
Yes. Okay. So should your dress train have a higher hem if your veil is longer than your train?
I understand.
So,
okay.
Yes.
So
that's a good question.
Yeah.
Good question.
I love, if you're going to do a long veil, I believe that your veil should be at least a foot to 2 feet longer than the train of your dress.
Go for the drama.
Yes. But we're actually getting requests for 3 feet longer, 5 feet longer. I just had a bride that got married and we did, I think, a 5-foot extension on her veil.
Thanks, Priyanka.
I think that if you're going to go longer, it needs to go at least a foot or 2 past your train.
And it depends on the setting. Are you going through twigs to get to your fiance, or is it in a cathedral and you have a clean, simple gown and you want to make it a little bit more elaborate for that moment, and then you can have your fun look for the reception. But yeah, definitely. If your veil train, your dress train is really long, of course you can shorten it, so that's an option. But I would just do your veil, again, that extra foot to 2 feet, or extra drama, go for the royal length. But definitely make sure it goes past the length of your dress train. You don't want it to create a line. Really, it should frame your whole look. Yep. That's why we're big believers in a long veil. We have some short veils. Sometimes it definitely is the right fit. Yeah. I have a bride actually coming in next week. The short veil looks the best on her. She's petite. It's not overwhelming. She has a full gown. It's perfect. But for the most part, most dresses look best with that long veil that just frames it. And there is a way to bustle a veil too. So that's something that we can get into.
So if you do want to go through, you want to do formalities of your wedding, like cutting the cake, first dance in your veil, so you get a longer wear, you can. There is a way to bustle the veil, and we'll show that in a different video too, but there is a way of doing it.
Cool.
So
do we go over, before we wrap up, as far as if you're losing weight and when
so time frame for losing weight, it's okay to start them the 8 weeks out, but just know that 4 weeks at that second fitting that you're doing, you have to stop wherever you are at that point. Just stop losing, because the last thing you want is the seamstress to keep opening and closing the seams of your dress. It's gonna cost her more money every time she has to open that seam back up. It's also more trips, more time. I understand wanting to lose weight as much as possible before the wedding. Communicate with your seamstress. In our case here at the Bridal Finery, we may be able to tell you, like, let's start 4 weeks before the wedding, and then 2 weeks before the wedding, you have to stop. It also depends on what dress you have, the amount of labor it is, fabric and all those things, but definitely communicate with your seamstress. If you're one of our brides, communicate with us, let us know that that is the case, and we'll work around it.
Yeah, so a good rule of thumb, if you plan on just like toning, dropping a little bit of, like 5 pounds, let's say, then we can still start at that traditional 8-week window, 8 weeks before your wedding. If you're working with a trainer or nutritionist, like you plan on like really dropping several sizes, so like more than 10 pounds, then we would probably end up starting your alterations 4 weeks before the wedding, where you're a little bit closer to your true wedding weight. And then again, just tell the seamstress, like, I'm still dropping, and prepare her. So she's not surprised when you come into like second and third fitting and she's like, oh my gosh, I still need to take in 2 more inches. So definitely important to communicate. And on the other end, sometimes if you're taking like a new medication or something, if there's a potential for you to like gain a little weight, if you feel comfortable sharing, it definitely is helpful. We still really understand privacy, but it does help to communicate that to the seamstress if there's a possibility of you gaining weight. So even pregnancy is becoming really common. So
it's interesting because I'm glad you talked about weight gain and pregnancies as well. We even see a fluctuation depending on the time of the month.
Yeah. Totally.
So depending
with the boobs.
Yes, we see a huge fluctuation depending on the time of the month. If you had a bachelorette party the weekend before and you just drank a little bit more than you usually do, or you
stay away from those salty foods.
Or you just ate more, like all those things do come into play. So keep that in mind. Like bachelorette weekends are super fun. Just consume a lot more water than you normally would to flush the salt out as quickly as possible. But even those things like will make a big difference.
Definitely. I'm going to come around again and see if there's any other questions before we wrap up. Roberta has a new client on the way. So we need to get ready for her. And also after the video, feel free to comment below on our Facebook if you have any suggestions for future videos. And again, we're going to put that link on there where our fashion director, Jamie, wrote a very elaborate blog post going into detail with everything that Roberta and I discussed. So let me come around and see what we have.
Super excited, guys. We will put the website, just so you know, it's www.thebridalfinery.com, and we're located in Winter Park, Florida. You can go to our website, all of our contact information's there, but we'll also put it there, and then the blog is on our website as well. One other question.
Yes, I think we might have 2 actually. So what to consider when walking in grass?
Perfect. So when walking in grass, it's different if it's AstroTurf, which is that synthetic turf, or regular grass. Definitely think of the fact that there are spikes coming up. So I would definitely go shorter on that hem. I would do it probably like 1/8 of an inch off of the ground so your dress doesn't get caught in it, especially if it's a tulle or an organza or any sort of like netting material on the skirt.
Yeah, and the other thing too, there is like a certain way to walk that we can practice.
There is.
Because the ground is a little, uneven, so that's a concern as well. So there's a way to kind of just kick your feet, and it kind of may feel a little ridiculous underneath the dress.
No one can see it.
But you can't see it. So in a fuller gown. So that's definitely an option too.
Yeah.
So
Awesome.
Yay. Well,
thank you guys so much for joining us. See you next time.